Welcome to the PhD Journey Unplugged podcast. I am Dr. Marilyn Ward, and this is my colleague, Dr. Sarah Gordon. We are the co founders of this podcast and recent graduates of Concordia University's Chicago's doctoral program in leadership in health and human performance. We decided to take our experiences, knowledge, and academic training from our doctoral journey and start this podcast, sharing our voices on topics related to wellness, healthy aging, and purposeful living. Dr. Gordon brings to our discussions a background in psychology and research focused on exercise motivation with older adult athletes. She is a freelance writer for Outside Interactive, writing for Triathlete magazine, as well as a published poet, photographer, and multi-sport enthusiast. Dr. Ward is the founder and owner of No Excuses LLC, a leading health and wellness coaching company. With over 25 years of combined experience in wellness, leadership, and motivational coaching, including 6 years of dedicated service in the United States Air Force. She brings her expertise and discipline to her mission. Dr. Ward's research focuses on enhancing the quality of life and increasing longevity in aging adults. We are both passionate advocates for helping others thrive towards better health and value connecting deeply with our audiences. We strive to empower individuals to take a charge of their health, making lasting changes and transform their lives from the inside out. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us. All information and opinions expressed in this podcast are for the general purposes only and should not be taken as professional advice. Hello, and welcome back to the PhD Journey Unplugged podcast. I am Dr. Marilyn Ward, and I'm met here with my colleague, Dr. Sarah Gordon. Dr. Gordon, what are we going to share with our audience today?
Well, today we're going to talk about finding mental clarity and focus. And I was saying to you before we started this call today, it's so interesting to me how some of these episodes parallel my life.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I think, and I go back and I listen to past episodes and I think, I really need to take my own advice
I say that all the
all
time.
the time. But this was a tough week for me. And I just in all transparency, I'm starting a new program in neuroscience, and I felt very, very cluttered mentally to
That's a
get
lot.
to start studying and to get some focus with it. So I feel like this topic today is personal. You know, it hits me on a personal level. As I started to study and think about it, so much to it, as you were mentioning, before we started today.
Yes.
And I think that looking at the strategies, maybe we'll spend some time, we'll talk about what it means to find mental clarity, what mental clutter means, how do we focus, but then really spend some time on strategies. Like how do
Yes.
we get some clarity in our thinking, focus and goals that we're trying to achieve. So, yeah, and I do think as we think about the PhD journey for our
Mhm.
listeners who might be getting their doctorate, there were times that I absolutely felt lost and stuck in the middle of the woods.
Yes.
And if you're feeling that way, I'm sure, Marilyn, you'll share your experiences. Like, how do you get out of that feeling? And so I think, let's spend some time today talking about that as well.
Sure.
So, yeah, that's what I thought that we would spend some time today talking about.
Perfect. And I was just saying to you, trying to define it, trying to define the words mental clarity. It was kind of like trying to define the definition of successful aging. It's hard. You
Right.
don't put just one. There was many. It was better to describe the factors influencing mental clarity, which is basically, that's kind of how the definition was broken down. But again, it's one of those mental clarity is one of those, oh, when you say it, you're like, yeah, I get it. But do we really get it? Do we really truly understand mental clarity?
Well, and what helped me when we were preparing for today and studying the research and just reading about it, Marilyn and I, just to let our listeners know, we always spend a lot of time on these topics ahead of time to kind of prepare for
Yeah.
them. And what helped me to understand, besides just mentally how I feel this week in terms of getting my life organized and getting ready to start something new, was to think about what it's not. Think about the inverse, the opposite of mental clarity. And I wrote down some notes: feeling distracted, bogged down with thoughts, worrying, overthinking things, having a hard time making decisions, not being focused, like just feeling confused
Right,
and lost. So if you
right,
think about, like, if you're feeling that way today and you're feeling overwhelmed with something, we are trying to talk about how do you flip that and just
right.
more focus and move forward towards your goals and have more confidence in your decision making
Yeah,
and less confusion. And it's tough. I mean, it's a tough process to you know, to have the confidence in yourself that
yeah,
you can do it. That you can do it wherever you are in your life today.
yeah. And I think it can happen in a small instant, like it can happen in any situation, big or
Mhm.
small. And but it's one of those things that you're going to navigate through life. You're just going to navigate it a little more difficult when you do have all the chaos going on, and you will go through life, not that you're going to go through life any better with it, but it won't seem as stressful. You
Yes.
feel like, and it was so interesting, was one of the factors, and to me it seems like a big one, that I think even when we were looking at some of the literature and the other podcasts or TED Talks about it, it was having purpose. And I
Hmm.
think if we can, like, what, and we just said it. I was like, okay, after our degree, what is our purpose? What is it that I really want to do in life? Do I want to be
Hmm.
a professor? Do I want to be a public speaker? Do I
Hmm.
want to continue being a wellness coach? And for me, that is where this mental clarity this week has helped me really try to define what it is that I want to do. Because I think once I have a business coach, great friend. She's got a wonderful um, uh, business, YouTube business. And she keeps saying, narrow it down, narrow it down. What is your real focus? What are you trying to share with people? And I think just same with my resident friend, my old professor, not my professor, but he was a professor at the retirement community. And he said that with my PhD. He goes, just narrow it down. Just get the real main focus, and keep it small and keep it focused. And I'm like, okay. So that's what I'm trying to do now with my life, with the mental clarity.
Well, and I think to get there, you have to quiet your life to a certain degree. Okay.
Yes.
When you think about mental clarity and just so much going on, we are constantly bombarded with distractions,
Yeah.
right? I have notifications on my watch. I got notifications on my phone.
Yes.
It's just constant. And, you know, we are busy people, and I think to have clarity on making a good decision for yourself, you have to kind of tune out some of the noise and some of the distraction and sit with yourself and sit quietly. Um, we watched a TED Talk, right? You and I, and we'll put it in the link when we post this podcast. And let me find it here in my notes. Um, it was Chris Bailey, TED Talk Manchester, How to Get Your Brain to Focus. And it was so great because, we're not necessarily comfortable with doing nothing.
No.
But sometimes when you just sit with something, like for you, saying, all these different options, all these different paths that you can take in your life. If you sit quietly,
Yeah.
the brain has a way of bringing it forward for you. It's really fascinating thing, the way that happens. Like if you give yourself some space and some time to just think and let your brain just kind of wander a little bit. He talks about letting it wander a little bit. You come up with
Yeah. What do you think?
answers.
The ideas will come to you. The plans will come to you
Yeah.
if you get to that quiet spot. And I was like, oh, but just like you,
Fascinating.
but just like you said, we have to find silence or silence ourselves. But I'm like, isn't that funny how on our devices we can hit the silent mode? We can hit silence on our notifications. We can hit silent on the phone so it doesn't ring. But where's our button? Like, where's my silent button
Right,
where I
right.
can just shut it all off? Well, that's why meditation, mindfulness and meditation goes hand in hand. But, meditation, even then, when they say quiet your mind, man, my mind will go boop, boop, boop. All these.
Well, and when when we think about our PhD journey, right? We
Ugh,
had a lot coming at us every day, every week. And you have to figure out how to kind of channel your energy. You only have
right.
so much energy in a day,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so, you have to figure out how to kind of focus, you know, what's the word? Tune out the distractions, tune out
Right.
the noise, and focus one thing at a time, single tasking, and
Yeah.
get through it. If you're feeling like, I just remember it's so interesting to me, this whole topic, because I remember in one episode I said, looking back, we can connect the dots, right? Steve Jobs
Yes.
had said that. I remember specifically several years ago working out with a friend of mine and saying, I literally feel lost in the woods. I don't know how I'm ever going to finish this program. I don't know where's the light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
And I think about that, and now having this episode and this whole platform is to help other people. So
Yes.
for our listeners, we are really here to share our experiences to help other people. And I
Right.
would just say, if you're feeling confused today, if you're feeling lost in the woods, you know that feeling.
Yeah.
Which direction? You just said it. Which direction? Let's just be honest and real about it.
Yeah.
What direction should we go? I would say, from my experience, first of all, make sure you're rested. You taking care of yourself, your physical health, your mental health, eating well, and then just do one thing at a time, one
Yeah.
foot in front of the other, move forward, trust yourself in that process. And it's amazing. That's how you'll find some focus and clarity in that confusion.
Oh,
That's all
absolutely. I
I
think,
mean, what do you think from your experiences?
yes,
Did you feel that way?
I 100% felt that way. I feel that way right now. Like I said, like,
We
I'm
both
still
do
on
a
a,
little,
I'm
right?
still on this journey and I'm just like, all right, out of all this chaos, like what is going to come? And so I think, like if I sit down, it's like you said, lost in the, yeah, like you're lost in the woods. Well, what
A
do you
little
do
bit.
when you really, let's just take that analogy, but really put it like, if you're sitting there and you're like, oh my gosh, which way do I go? Well, panic sets in, right? And nothing good
Yes.
comes of panic. And what is that out of? Fear of the unknown, because we don't know what we're doing. But if we sit there and it makes your brain think and it makes your brain focus, okay, well, if the sun is this way, now I'm terrible with navigation. I don't get me, I have a compass, whatever, north, south, east. I'm military, but I do not. That's not one of my strong suits. But I will say, if you sit there and you think, or even if you just had to go back and just be quiet and backtrack your steps, you will
Mhm.
find it. It will
I
come.
believe it. But I think, like I said about energy, okay? If you're running around all day long
Yeah.
and just not allowing yourself to think, I don't think you can find clarity in that type of lifestyle. I
Right.
mean, we
It's
have to all run around. I get it. We have chores, we
right.
have responsibilities, we have our lives. But I think if you're really trying to accomplish a goal, like get a doctorate degree or some goal that you're working towards in your life, you have to put in place some type of system to organize your thinking, to
Yeah.
organize the path forward for yourself. Here's an example. I'm starting this neuroscience program, and it's hard. I
It looks great.
literally well, I hope so. I do love it, but I literally came in my office, as you can tell. I rearranged my office.
It
I
looks
de
great.
Thank you. I decluttered and I got set my space up for hopefully success. But it was very intentional, it was very deliberate, like, okay, I need to get my space organized, I need to refocus and get ready for this. I think that's the same when if you're feeling this way today, for our listeners, if you're feeling a little confused, you're feeling a little bit lost, think about what it is, why you feel that way, where are you trying to get to, and try to organize your life a bit, which means
Yeah. Maybe declutter.
maybe declutter.
Well, that brings me, go
Oh,
ahead.
go
Finish
ahead.
it. This was so funny. I'm like, you don't even know I had set these little
I have
questions
no idea what you have
aside.
written down. I'm literally just kind of free flowing. I'm letting my
No, I'm
brain
like, oh my
wander
gosh.
today.
One of my questions were for you today. It was going to say, if your mind were a room, what would you declutter first? Because you can't create greatness out of chaos. You have to have it
Yes.
just like your room. So if your room were, what would you declutter? And that's what you have to do. It's not so much about finding that clarity, but what can you get rid of that's serving you no purpose?
It's kind of like spring cleaning. You ever go through your closet and do spring cleaning?
Yes. And
Get
they
rid
say
of.
you're not supposed to just pick pieces out. You're supposed to take it all out and only put the pieces you want back in.
Get
And
get
so,
your life, get your mind,
yeah,
get your life organized and your mind organized, and to focus on goals and to move your life forward.
right.
Um, And the reason we talk about that every week, we always like to say, this platform, the PhD Journey Unplugged, this evolved out of us wanting to help other people going through hard challenges and goals in their lives have the best health you always say from the inside out,
Yes.
health, wellness, cognitive health, emotional health, physical health. And having clarity and focus and decision making is really important for your mental health. Okay. If
Yes.
we walk around feeling overwhelmed, burdened all the time, you're most likely feeling stressed, anxiety, and burnout today. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're trying to say, how do we get a little bit more control so you can have clearer thinking and enjoy your life and accomplish meaningful things in your life. And so I think that's kind of the bigger picture of why we're even talking about this today.
Right. And those two go hand in hand. We have to
Mhm.
remember physical health and mental health to me go hand in hand. Now, when I was researching the factors that influence mental clarity, it was like
Mhm.
purpose in life, emotional regulation,
Mhm.
overall well being, brain function, lifestyle choices, social connections. But then I went and read what, let me see, and I think I took a picture of it. I read that section from living with margins, and exercise was one of the factors. And it says, if you are physically tired, exercise your mind. If you are mentally tired, exercise your body. And I was like, that's it. Like
Love that.
we know this, right? We know physical activity has always popped up in our conversations because that's our field of studies, health and human
Mhm.
performance. But that one, it was interesting because when I was looking at the research, and of course, lifestyle choices, that would physical activity falls
Mhm.
into that category. But I love that one. Like, okay, if I'm stressed out, go work out. If my mind is crazy, go work out. or, you know,
It's so true. It's so true. Like even
yeah.
yesterday was my first day. I spent like 4 hours reading about neurons and everything's going on in
Oh
like
my gosh, that's
the,
exciting.
the, the brain and whatnot. And it's amazing, but it's new information for me and it's
Yeah.
mentally taxing. And I felt so tired, cognitively exhausted, and brain fog and everything you talk about.
Right.
And went down to the beach. I live near the beach and took a nice walk. And it was like so
Yeah.
much more energy, so feeling so much better, so much clarity, so much focus, so feeling more positive, not feeling so drained. So I agree with you. Physical activity, and it can be, it could be walking. It doesn't have to
Right.
necessarily be,
That's crazy.
I'm taking a little bit break from running this week for other reasons, but I mean, it can be anything. It's just
Right.
taking a nice walk. You're so right. Maybe it's the oxygen. I don't know. It
Yes.
changes your
You
whole mindset. It
The
really
feeding your
does.
brain oxygen definitely,
Yes.
helps with your mental clarity. And I just,
Yes.
because when we, so those were the factors that influenced it. And then when you look at the opposite, like how do you cultivate mental clarity? And it was almost giving me the exact opposite. So if purpose in life affected your mental clarity, to help cultivate it, to find your purpose. so
Hmm.
so
Yes.
everything that we talked about, like, the emotional regulation, well, practicing mindfulness. So they everything, was the op, and I was like, okay, that's what we do. So if you have the problem, obviously the solution is going to be the opposite of it. And I know that sounds like so cliche when we say
No, I
it,
think
but
that's, I think that's, and I had said that, like, if you think about, if you're having a hard time understanding what we're talking about, hopefully we're, some mental
hopefully it's making
clarity
sense.
yet.
Ah,
If you think about what it's not,
right.
it
Yeah.
will help you define what it is.
Yes.
I was thinking about this today. I met this young gentleman today out on an errand, and he said something that really hit me about the PhD journey. He said, choose your hard.
Oh,
Choose your hard. So if
yeah.
you decided to go in and get a doctorate degree, right, and you're in the midst of the PhD journey, it's hard. You
Right.
know, it's not, we're not gonna lie. It's hard. Hopefully you're there because you want to be and it's
Right.
fulfilling and you chose to be there, but it is gonna be hard. So you chose that hard. So you're gonna stick with it and put in strategies like we're saying physical activity, things that help you stay focused and one step at a time and you will get through it. And that's with
Yeah.
anything in life.
Oh,
Um,
true. Well,
yeah.
there's a
And I
meme.
love that. Choose your hard.
Yeah, on social media, there's a meme that says diet and exercise is hard, but so is going to the doctor for not doing it. Um,
Right.
going for a run is hard, but so is the lack of, or sitting there with,
Or just losing your
problem
health.
losing your health. So I love that because you're
Yeah.
right. And I can remember when I first went to go get my associate's degree, I was 32 years old. And I'm like, that was hard. For me, that was hard. I was in a classroom with a bunch of young students, fresh out of high school. And I remember having to take a math to place me. Okay, I'm 32. I graduated in 1993. Do the math. And I had to take like remedial math because I didn't remember algebra
Right.
or algebra 2. And I was like, oh my gosh, but I could have quit and
Right.
would never have gotten me to here where I am today. So
But how
I
did
chose
you
my hard.
but how did you focus on that? I mean, when
Mm.
you pick up something new, um, it's overwhelming. Whatever it is,
Oh,
whatever you're doing, it can be overwhelming. How did you find focus? I'm just curious.
the focus, and that
What
was
do you
really
think?
crazy because I think for me during that time, I was also going through a divorce. So it was
Yeah.
really, really hard. I I think my peers, there were a few other non-traditional students that were in the classroom. And then what was great for me, it was a lot of the professors were older. So
Hmm.
I kind of latched onto the professors and I was like, you know what? Like, I need guidance. So
It's a
I had,
strategy.
I
I love
had,
that.
yeah, I had to ask for help. Like,
Ask for help.
I don't know how to study again. And I don't know how to like,
Mhm.
these younger girls, I hooked up with them just because we were all kind of like in wet fitness. And so we started a study group, but I definitely think reaching out and asking for help was a huge thing for me. And
Yeah.
even though I was older, with some of the peers, I call them my peers because we were all in the classroom together, but not being afraid, not being arrogant and saying, well, I'm older, I'm wiser. Heck no, I didn't know that math.
Excuse me. Yeah, no, allowing yourself to
So
be, I think when you allow yourself to be open to other
vulnerable.
people, to vulnerable for people to teach you, they help you through those periods. So like when we started today, I said, I remember being in the gym with my friend who was training me and I was like, I feel so lost. I really believe, I wish I could remember in that moment what he said to me, but and I know him very well. And I can tell you, he probably said something like, you got this.
Right.
You got this. You can do this. You got this. And so, by talking to people and letting other people God puts people in your past for a reason. I believe,
Yes.
and sometimes they give you the energy and the source of strength that you need in a moment when you don't have it yourself. And
Right.
so I think that that helps, when have this kind of mental confusion in your life.
And
Um,
attitude. I think your
attitude.
attitude has a lot. I just saw something on LinkedIn and somebody had brought up a thing about attitude. We kind of talked about it last week, what's the difference between those successful agers and not? And I think having a positive attitude.
Yes.
Well, I can remember in the military doing the confidence course and being so scared, but I'm like, scared of fear because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make it. I'm thinking, well, all these people made it before me. Well, my niece is now at the cadet school and you're the website where you can go on and see pictures of them. They're in their what's called Frog Week. It's an Army cadet school. And so there's this picture and there's all these kids. There's like a young gentleman, a female, her, and then another gentleman behind. They all had like big eyes, like fear. And here's my niece peeping around like big smile on her face and wide-eyed and excited, and all the other ones. And I said, yes. I was like, you get it, girl. Like she's got our blood in her veins. And but I was like, she had an attitude of how are we gonna conquer this? Where the other ones were like, so that right
Well,
there it made me beam with pride and joy.
I agree. I agree. Having confidence and I do believe physical activity gives you a lot of confidence.
Yes. Oh yes.
I do think like the days that I feel stronger and my training's going really well and everything's kind of flowing, my energy is much better.
And we
I
don't know
can
our own strength, right? Sometimes
Mhm.
we don't know our own strength until we
Yeah,
get out there and do it.
absolutely. So I had mentioned to you, and I want to bring it to our
Yeah.
listeners. Last week, my brother and sister-in-law invited me to a motivational event. So Sean Thompson was a world-known surfer and international surfer and won multiple, championships and whatnot. And he now has like this kind of motivational tour.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm going to show our listeners. I don't know if it's backwards, but it's called The Surfer and the Sage. And he just talks about he uses his experiences being in the surfing world in terms of like really how to live your best life with purpose and how to help other people achieve that. So
Mm.
it's not just about us trying to live our own lives and reaching our goals and whatnot. It's how do we help other people in that process, in that journey. And he actually it was interesting because I'm reading the book I picked it up last week at this event, and he has a chapter on confusion and clarity. I thought, well,
Yay.
that's kind of serendipitous, huh? So I'm just going to read his words. So I highly recommend this book. And he has another one called The Code, which is very interesting too, the surfing code, to apply to life lessons. But it says the choice between confusion and clarity requires a profound honesty.
Oof.
Anyone who says they are not confused occasionally has been so confused for so long that it's an addiction to the familiar and the rejection of honesty. I thought,
Oh,
wow, that's kind of in
wow.
your face. And we all decide the lies we want to believe. And he just gives an example. A great surfer in life is not someone who is absent of confusion, but rather someone who rides his or her confusion into clarity. And I love that because it demonstrates, be clear with yourself on this and enjoy the ride. It
Yeah.
demonstrates that you know the change has to come within us.
Yes.
Okay? If we have the control to do these things. There are strategies that we can put in place to find clarity, to, tune out the noise, to be more focused. We
Yeah.
have to find it within ourselves, even though we talk about mentors and whatnot,
Right.
people who
Yeah.
guide you. Ultimately, we need to make the changes,
Right. We're the ones that have to do the
right?
work. And I
We
do
do the
believe that
work,
you have to be honest with yourself because so many times we say, be honest with yourself or stop lying to yourself. But it's so true though, because
right?
you're like,
It's kind of like in your gut, but it's true because You
Yeah,
decided to go back and get your doctorate and you're feeling
yeah,
overwhelmed and confused. I mean, the dropout rate is staggering. We see it on LinkedIn
right.
all the time, these
Yeah,
stories about how hard it is. And, people, and you even posted about like only 2% of the population have
yeah,
in the United States, 1% in the world complete their PhD. It's
yeah.
hard.
That's
But if
hard,
you're going
right?
to choose your hard, look within yourself, put some strategies to get some focus,
Yeah,
tune out the noise and move forward one
right.
task at a time.
And it's okay to be scared, right? We say if your
Yeah, it
dream
is
doesn't scare
scary.
you, it's not big enough.
Yes.
But there's kind of some truth to that. Like
Mhm.
if everything was easy, let's say if weight loss was easy, we'd all be skinny.
Yes.
If the Iron Man was easy, each one would be a sold out show. If the
Yes.
PhD journey was easy, there would be a higher number than just
The
2%.
statistics would be more like 50%.
Right. And so but if it's it's okay. It's okay that it scares you and it will feel a little chaotic. But during that chaos, we're saying that you can find some clarity along the way that will help make the journey a little easier.
Yes, and now that we're here, we are several months out of the program. We've graduated. You know, we are sharing on this podcast today and in past episodes all the things that we went through, mental, physical. Would you have changed it at all?
No, I would still,
That's
even
the
knowing what I
irony.
know, yeah, I would.
That's the irony of the situation. I wouldn't have changed the hard.
Because the outcome is still was the better, like the end journey was better than any of the chaos we went through, any of
Yes.
the hard, any of the emotions. And believe me, there were emotions: angry, sad. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I cried a few times.
A lot of crying,
Yeah.
a lot of confusion.
And it was, but I would not change it. Even knowing all of that, I
Would
still would
not,
have done it. It's just,
no.
it's like the Iron Man, okay? When we go and you go out, we've been through it. So we know two different times. One time it was the swim that I thought was going to get me. And then my second one, it was the hills. Oh my gosh, treacherous hills. But each time I'm like, it didn't hurt me enough or scare me enough that would deter me from doing it again. I'm like, I know how hard it is, but I would do it again.
So here's the question. And I love when you bring training examples
Can't
into our
help
discussions. I love it.
it.
It's great. I would we should just do some training episodes. It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about training and focus and mental clarity. If you're constantly distracted, social media, TV, phones, buzzing on your watch, running around doing just running around doing 100 million things in a day, you can't get to that goal. You have to look at your life. You have to organize your week. You have to organize your training sessions. You have to learn to say no. You have to focus. You have to
Right.
carve a path forward to reach that goal. If that's the goal that you want, that's the goal. It's meaningful to you for whatever reason. We all have reasons in our
Right.
lives why we want to do things. Okay, there's no way we can know all what they all are for our
Right.
listeners. But if you're working towards something and it's meaningful to you, and at this moment you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed or confused or you're not sure how to get to that next step, you got to carve that path forward to get there.
Yes.
And sometimes it's not, sometimes it's great, sometimes it's all harmonious. You got flow, you're feeling great. And
Yeah.
sometimes those days just
Yeah.
but you gotta be focused and organized to reach that goal. And an Ironman is a great experience. I've only done the half Ironman. I shouldn't even say
Yes,
only.
me too. I know.
I've done the 70.3 twice.
Yes. Same, same.
And it was hard. It was hard at times to keep the schedule, keep the consistency, keep the discipline, to keep
Yeah.
the focus. But I think tuning out a lot of the noise, it's different for everybody. There's no way
Right.
you can know what your noise is. You know, if you just
Well,
sit
that's a
quietly for a
good,
second, you know what's going on.
yeah, and that's a good point. You said nobody knows what your noise is.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what it is that is a clutter, because what a clutter might be to me
Yes.
might not be to you. So, right, what can I take out of my life that's not serving me purpose? Like,
Right.
what is not, maybe it's the TV, the extra TV, maybe it's the silly games that we play at night instead of me doing my reading,
Right.
whatever it is. But I was okay, let me back that up. My little games are my brain games. They're my cognitive brain
Well, I
games.
mean, we have to have some fun too. I mean, I know we're trying to beat a point,
We're gonna be
to our
real.
listeners.
Let's be real.
Life is life, right? We get
Right.
distracted all the time.
Yeah, but there are different things like that are bringing chaos, and I would have to say like quiet the negative in your brain. And I had done a training
Yes.
once where it's very easy for us to let negative thoughts come in and infiltrate our brain.
Mhm.
And then what do we do right after that? We speak that negative out loud. And so
Mhm.
what the training was, it was like as soon as those negative thoughts come to your brain, zip it, like choop, let it out, like let it, like push it back, and only speak positivity out, because when whatever we speak into the existence is what's coming. So you're supposed to shut off the negative, don't say the words out loud, and whatever does come out of your mouth, make it positive. Like even if the thought comes to you like, oh, this day is so hard, or I can't lose the weight, instead of saying the day is hard or I can't lose the weight, it's like this day is great. We're going to
I can
manifest
lose the
right now,
weight.
right? This day is going to be great, and I am healthy and I am fit. It's our words of affirmation.
Yeah.
And we're going to
It's,
say it like fake it till you make it. We have to, it might not be that way right now, but we at least have to say it and manifest it.
well, let me ask you this question because I
And
think
I'm sorry if you hear my dog barking. I think you hear her barking.
I struggle with it a little bit. Do you think sometimes you get comfortable in thinking a certain way and you really have to be deliberate to think a different way?
Oh, yes.
I think we get comfortable in, maybe we talk about mental focus and decluttering your mind and decluttering your space where you work and you think, maybe you get comfortable with a lot of stuff. I mean, some people can function with a lot of disorganization around. I've know people that they know where everything is. To me, it feels, a little bit
Ugh. Walking into someone's home, like if you walk
chaotic,
into
but
someone's
they
home,
know where everything is. And so I'm
yeah,
not judging people, in terms
right.
of what the actual physical space looks like. If you know where everything is and that system works for you, great. But if you right now are sitting in a space and you're trying to focus on some goal and you're looking around and you don't know where everything is and you've just been comfortable in that space, shake it
Right,
up. Go in
right.
there and declutter, clean
And
up
what is
and
it?
organize.
You have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable.
There you go.
Where they say the
I like that.
storm before the storm before the serenity. What is that? I never
Calm.
the calm before the storm. That's what I'm trying to say. The calm before the storm. But in this case, it it hurts before it gets better.
No,
You know,
it's so
you have to
true.
get this, like change comes with her. Like what do they say with a diamond? A diamond, it starts out with a piece of coal and it's got to go through a lot of pressure before it comes to this beautiful diamond.
Yes.
That's a better analogy.
No, but
So I think we have to remember that when we're going through it. You have to, like, going through the training for the Ironman was not easy. Going through the
right.
PhD journey wasn't easy. You had to get uncomfortable. We had to learn statistics, not just learn it, run it, process it, make sure you chose the right test to make sure, you had the outcome, or, you were the research that you were looking for, the outcome that we were hoping for, which also doesn't always happen. But
Well, I think it goes back to just this really nice person that crossed my path today, not really knowing about our podcast today or anything, and just said, sometimes in life you choose your hard.
yeah.
And I love that. So, getting a doctorate, getting any degree, if you're in medical school or, any advanced degree or in your job or trying to start a new path towards losing weight or
Yeah.
wanting to retire, whatever it is, wherever you are today, um, have the courage to change.
Yeah, there you go.
Recognize that it may be a little, there might be some hard in it before it, gets better. And you're gonna get there. And I love when you gave the example of the storm because it brings me back to this book with the waves.
Ah,
Right? And I think about the energy in water and when, these surfers. It's just, it really impacted me.
Yeah. Well,
I
those
don't know
waves,
that I want to be a
because
surfer, but these people are incredible. They
and those are huge waves, but I can
huge
remember
waves.
battling my first half was at Panama City Beach, Florida. And I remember my coach was like, go out the day before and check it out. And I'm looking at these waves and I'm like, it was bad. And that morning of, I went out and practiced and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And
Do
the
it?
morning of, it was going to, they ended up making a red flag that day on the water itself. Now, us racers, but I could stand around and I'm listening, and some people are like, I've never swam in open water. They've only practiced in a pool. And I'm thinking, oh boy, oh buddy. I remember having to jump because in the Ironman, you have to go far out, short across, far back. And I remember just like trying to jump and get over these waves. And I'm like, it was a storm was coming. And I just was like, get out of this water.
Well, but did you ever surf?
No, yes, I did in Hawaii, in Maui. I've got
Okay.
pictures of it.
See,
Loved it.
I think
It
that this has opened
was
up
a
my,
challenge.
yeah, this has opened up my thoughts about that. Like, I think just heard, I've never been to Hawaii. It looks beautiful, but I'm just thinking about the waves and the storms. Like when
Yeah.
you surf a wave, right? Let's see if I can put these thoughts, into my words. Um, you are going through, what is it? The curl?
Yeah, like, well, I didn't surf that big of waves. I probably would have
But
died.
you have to have mental clarity and mental focus to
Oh
get
yes,
out of it,
yes. I do
right?
like so we were doing on top, but I remember you had to focus
You have to focus. It's a
because you
mental
couldn't
survival
look.
skill. You have to focus to get through something. And if you just drop right there, the water will just, it's all consuming and you're stuck
Yeah.
in this big confusion and chaos. So you
Well,
got to move forward.
think about biking, all right?
That.
So when you're biking and you're on a path, what happens when we look to the right or to the left? Your bike veers to the right or to the left. Same with driving. That's why when somebody's waving at you and they're like,
Yeah, and then you fall
oh,
over.
you can't focus. Your focus
Right.
has to be on the prize or on the
Surprise.
goal or the dream, whatever it is. Because if you keep looking to the chaos right and left, looking at, I know we always say stop and smell the roses or look at the scenery, but if you want to stay on your target, you have to stay focused
I love
and
that. I love
zone
that.
out everything around you.
Focus on your dream. Focus on your goals.
Yep.
Focus on what's meaningful to you. Focus on what brings you joy, what brings you
Yes.
happiness. It could be playing with your grandchildren. It could be, wanting to
Yeah.
find more time in your life to be with your grandchildren. I mean, it doesn't just have to be like an academic goal, right?
Oh,
You have to create that
the
path.
storm is happening right now.
Well, there you go. And
I
if
was
you
like,
freeze,
so
we haven't frozen in a couple episodes, so if you freeze, we'll
yeah,
know.
it'll be, yeah,
Or,
that was a loud thunder just
well, there
now.
you go. I mean, that's amazing. We're going to stay focused on our
Yes.
topic, on being focused.
Yeah.
I want to share something with our listeners as a strategy. So yesterday, I was diving into the chapters of this new basic course on neuroscience, and I have to tell you, after a couple hours, my head was just killing me. And for some reason, I was like, oops.
The storm
Wait,
is causing the dog to go crazy.
all
I just
right.
suffered.
So
Focus.
anyhow, right, focus.
Yeah.
I turned on some concentration music and I noticed something. My brain relaxed and I was able to focus for another couple hours. So
Oh,
I put it on my Apple iTunes. I looked up music to study to and just put on some like concentration music. And I was just really amazed for myself how effective that was to have more focus, more clarity than let's just say more endurance than I thought I had at that moment. I thought I was ready. I was like, I'm done. I'm tired. I'm going to close the book and go. But
yeah.
turning on the music, and I don't know enough, maybe our listeners know what it actually does to your brain. I don't know
Yeah.
yet, but it really relaxed it. And I was able to get a lot more, work my brain a lot longer than I thought I could. So I thought that was an interesting
I
strategy.
like it. That's an
Yeah.
interesting trick. I like journaling for mine is
Or
my would be my number one strategy. I have to write things down, and my desk has all these notepads because I have a certain notepad for everything. But I like, even like this one for today, I'm just like, for me, if I journal, because I can go back and reflect, or my
I like
notes in my
that.
phone. Like I use the notes app. I have 1,000 notes in my phone because for me, well, it's probably because it starts, I have a goal board that I do every year. I add to it of what I'm doing. I've checked off things that I've completed. But because again, I can reflect, I can go back, I can look, hey, this worked for me for this situation, this worked. So to me, that was probably one of my number one strategies, even for school.
I think that's perfect and very effective. I read about also like writing things down,
Yeah.
right? We've talked about in past episodes, like we build mountains in our head. We overthink, we overcomplicate. If you write things down, if you journal like Marilyn's saying, or just make to-do lists, get the stuff out of your head, set the goals on to paper. It it you get it out of your
Yeah, it
mind,
gets it out of your mind
right?
and in front of you where you can see it. Then you can
And it gives you
literally cross
space.
off, yeah, like, hey, this doesn't work. I don't
Yeah, and
need
it
to
gives you
cross
more
that out.
space to focus on the things that you need to kind of propel your life forward. So I
Yes.
think that's great. Um, wow, that was 45 minutes. We like to keep
All
our
right.
episodes between 45 minutes to 50 minutes. We've gone to an hour before, but you know, here, I'd like to say to our listeners, we have some new subscribers, and we're
Yay.
we're on episode 13. It's Friday the 13th, and we're
Ooh,
we're surviving.
no, today's the 8th.
Oh my gosh. You know what I'm
You're
thinking about?
you're
Next
thinking about
week. Next week.
our
I'm
next
not
one,
focused.
which is gonna be great. No,
This
only because we kept messing it up in the chat.
okay, maybe.
The date.
Oh, right, in that email. But look at how my mind, see that? Today's the 8th. Today's
Today is
not
the
Friday the
8th.
13th.
It feels like it with the thunder, my dogs, everything's.
Yeah, focus, Sarah. Yeah, I need to take my own advice. What was I going to say?
It is our.
Oh, I was going to say to our listeners, very real moment there.
I love it.
My brain is not working that great. Can you give us some comments? Let us know how we're doing to our
Yeah,
listeners. Let us know. We
it'll be
we we
great.
really feel grateful to have this opportunity. We offer this, just for free because we want to give back. And there's really no ulterior motive to it. And so we would love to hear from you. If we're helping you in any way, let us know. If there's
And you don't,
something,
yeah, and you don't have to be a
questions for
doctoral
us,
student.
yeah, let us know. So we would appreciate that. Ooh,
And share. If you, I'm always like, we can only reach so many people. So to me, it's like share with, it doesn't take but 2 seconds to share the message. So, just when it says share the link or copy the link and share, like that's great. That's huge for us. And we thank you for that.
yeah.
Because you never know who else may need to hear it.
Yeah, and here's the thing, you talk about brain fog. Next Friday isn't even the 13th.
Oh, really? What is next Friday?
It's the 15th.
I
I had to
don't know.
look.
Lucky 13. I don't know. It's something good is going to come with 13 here.
Oh no.
Uh, See, this is
Anyhow,
how you know we're real. This is how
we
you know
are.
we're real and we are raw and this is it. This is us. Love us or leave us.
That's right. We just have our experiences. I know what it feels like to, like Marilyn said in the beginning, we know what it feels like to cry. How am I going to get through this?
Yes.
To feel
Yes.
completely overwhelmed, to not, just not have just not feeling focused. But we did it. We survived. We're here. We're here
We're
to tell
here.
you you can do it too.
Yes.
And let's all go surf some waves. How's that?
Yes. That's great. Which we might after the storm. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that community really had an impact on me. It's just and the whole Hawaiian culture. It's just something to be said for just letting your mind just relax and be in the elements and just enjoy nature and not take everything so seriously either. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
something for that
We have
that
to
way
like
of thinking.
enjoy life.
All right, Marilyn, wrap us up. I think
All right, let's
I wasn't
see.
too
What
focused today. I apologize for that.
are, no, not at all. That's real. I would just say, really, for this week, your homework would be find your purpose
You're
or,
perfect.
find, and even if you already have, let's say, obviously, if you're already career driven people and you already have a purpose, so find what it is that brings you joy
Yes.
and brings you happiness, and let that be your new focus, because it is easy to get caught up in the rat race when it comes to our careers and school and whatnot. So remember, find whatever brings you joy and let that be your focus. Otherwise, if you're stuck in this, I don't know where to turn, like myself right now,
Yeah.
that's where it's like, find your purpose, focus on
Yes.
your purpose.
It's so hard. We've had a podcast on patience. It's so hard to be patient when you want to be goal oriented and you want to move forward, at a
Right.
faster pace.
Ready for
So,
that next step.
yeah. But don't lose and I love that, find your purpose and find your light, your guiding light, and
Find
stay
your
focused.
sparkle.
Find your
Your
sparkle.
sparkle.
Yeah, back to
Yeah.
my sparkle. Find your sparkle and trust it and have confidence in it. So, next week, oh, you know what it is? I think today's episode 13.
Yes, it is
That's where
episode
I got just
13. It's
okay, there is some clarity in my brain, just so you know.
yes, it's episode 13.
Okay. Next week, episode 14, we are having a friend of ours on the show. He is an older triathlete. He just raced at the USA Triathlon Nationals, brought home the gold.
Amazing.
And he's just an incredible person. We're going to talk to him about his perspectives on successful aging. We're going to talk to him about how physical activity was it kind of woven in his life through all the academic years of his schooling. And then we're going to talk about some of his philosophies on life. So really excited to have him. And we
Be
look
great.
forward to bringing that conversation to our listeners next week. So that's it.
All right.
All right, Marilyn.
It was great seeing you again. And
Yeah.
then to our listeners, thank you again so much for listening, subscribing, sharing, liking. I love
We do. We love you. We appreciate you. And we will be back again
you. Yes,
next week.
next week.
Okay. All
Take
right.
care.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Thank you. Bye.